covered. Mushroom powder.
Virgil will probably appreciate these mushrooms.
Something.
Oh, maybe he'll make white kibble when we get back.
Yeah, so welcome to Coffee and Chocolate's top 5 games of 2023. As you can imagine, Telltale's The Expanse did not make the list.
No, it made our dead list.
No, that made a different list. Let's put it that way. Well, anyway, we wanted to talk about all the games we played this year and we loved a lot. So we figured we could boil them down to the top 5 that we played, not in any particular order here. Zoe, what's your first game on the list that you enjoyed playing this year? Number 5.
Sneaky Sasquatch.
Sneaky Sasquatch. I like that game. Sneaky Sasquatch is a little fun little mobile game, and you get to play a little, Sasquatch character. He works his way up from just being a thief to becoming a doctor, I think, in the latest upload.
I don't think we should. The only reason we're not going to do it is because there has been so many updates and so many episodes you have to run through. It would take us forever. But if you want to know a good channel to find, Stanton Gaming does a whole thing. It's really good. You should go check it out.
Yeah, he's already done it, and we've already done it too. Plus, it's so hard to record on mobile when you're trying to do a channel.
You just have to have an Apple Arcade subscription, and then you just get it from there.
What do you find so good about that game?
It's just you get to do whatever you want, kind of. You get to do a lot of jobs, make money. You could starve.
Yeah, starving is a great option in games I found, I'm kind of old school. I like the old games where, you had to remember to drink water.
And it took 5 hours real time to fly somewhere.
Actually, sometimes those games are fun. And actually, Sneaky Sasquatch is not really one of those kind of games. There's actually a lot of fun little stuff going on in it, and I agree with Zoe. That's a good one. I would say the first game that comes to my list when I think about it is Detroit Become Human. This game was a little bit controversial. It is a little bit old, but we did play it this year, so I say it makes the cut. And the thing that I found really cool about Detroit Become Human is that it was a story-based game, but it was an incredibly high-level one, and it was one in which your choices radically impacted how the story played, and the game also gave you no quarter. There were 3 main characters in the game, and if one of them died, game continues. The story goes on. It's wow, that was a major character, and we just killed that person off, and the game is going on. There's no reload point or anything like that. They accommodated so many different variations of how you could play it. It was good. The game itself, the story I thought was really flawed in many ways, and it's trying to sell an analogy of slavery and civil rights and grafted onto androids, which never quite philosophically worked for me, quite honestly. But they did it so well that I look past that fact, and especially because we had some really interesting conversations about what does it mean to be human? What does it mean to what does it mean to equality before the law? In these
So watch the ends of some of our episodes, and he'll be talking all about it.
We had some good talks about it. It was a really thoughtful game. I liked it. Very thinky game. I liked it. You should play it.
Definitely. My first one would be Definitely Detroit. I remember the first time I played it, I was so upset at myself. I killed off Kara the first second you could kill her.
Kara is a female android who is charged with taking care of a little girl, and it's quite possible for her to die very early in the game, and there's no recovery for that for your game.
I just killed her off. I just stand still. I was I'm an android. I should follow the rules.
Yeah.
I was wait, don't I get a reload?
I mean, you could.
So you guys know how when you're looking at the crossroads, the little thing where it's all the paths, in Crossroads, how they switch it up, you go from this person, this person, this person. I was scrolling through that and I saw Kara and I was wait, why does she have so many little endings there?
Yeah, the flowchart aspect of Detroit Become Human is really fun too, because it shows you all the things that you could have done but didn't. I mean, it doesn't tell you what it was. It just shows that there were a lot of different things you might have done and you didn't.
Actually, I remember one thing where I was actually a little scared. I was 8 or 9 when we weren't recording, we were just playing it on our own. I was actually a little scared to finish it because I don't remember why. I just thought it was like violent or something. But I was like, I've played so many other like more violent games. I'm like, and then like we actually played. I was like, oh wait, this is fun. And then I don't really know why. I was just like nervous to finish it.
Well, it's funny about, and this is what I think what really makes it a superior game. You cared about the characters. It's funny, like there's some games you play, and like I love Mass Effect. Mass Effect's one of my all-time favorite games. We did not play it this year. If we had, it would have made the list, absolutely. But there are some characters in there you just don't care about at the end of the day, and you're like, and they are so stock characters. They are so cardboard. They are so two-dimensional that it's like, okay, they're disposable, sure, whatever. There's a couple who you're really, like our buddy Garrus over here. There's some that you really like, and there are others you just, yeah, okay, well, I guess Caden died again. It's sort of funny the way that distinction is. And of course, in Mass Effect, it's just, a lot of mooks that you need to take down. And so it's true in a lot of other games too, obviously. But Detroit Become Human is not like that. At Detroit, you really, you feel that they're real. You want to believe that they're real in a way that you don't get that in a lot of other games who are just throwing cannon fodder at you, I guess.
What's number 4?
Number 4 for me, I'm going to go back to Deus Ex, Human Revolution. This is, it's not quite the same level as Detroit Become Human. It is set partly in Detroit, though. That was it's kind of a neat thing to listen to the soundtrack of Deus Ex as you drive through Detroit, by the way, at night. But what I really liked about Deus Ex, other than the fact that it had a fantastic story and engaging characters like Adam Jensen and some of the people like Seraph and Malik, the unsung hero of the whole game. Pritchard, even Pritchard, you love to hate Pritchard. Like you don't like him, but you don't want any harm to come to him.
No, I do.
You want harm to come to Pritchard.
I will be that harm.
Jensen.
No, I will be that harm that comes to punch him.
Well, anyway,
that will be me.
What I found most fascinating about Deus Ex, especially for a game that frankly is about 10, 15 years old at this point, I guess maybe 10 years, and it is, I think when it was designed originally, like the original Deus Ex, the old Deus Ex from like the turn of the century, it plugged into a lot of what were considered, I think, stereotypical conspiracy theory nut kind of storylines. Things like a secret cabal manipulating history and, technology being used to oppress people generally, and pharmaceutical companies encouraging people to take drugs just for the sake of profits, regardless of what the havoc that it wreaks upon them, drugs and surgery and that kind of stuff. And quite honestly, some of that stuff almost feels ripped from the headlines today. It's so depressing in some regards and amazingly engaging in another level. And you're kind of like, they could never make a game like this today, would they? They just wouldn't. They couldn't sell it. They couldn't get it past their first level of approvals, I don't think, which is a shame.
Lego Fortnite. That was actually, I have played it on my own account. It's been really fun. I like it. It's giving like a Minecraft vibe.
But there is some sort of battle or fighting that takes place in it too, right?
Yeah, and then the nighttime battles remind me of Minecraft.
Okay, well that's cool. I will say that for myself, Fortnite surprisingly makes the list. I had never played Fortnite before. I thought I looked at it before. It turns out I was wrong.
You had it in your on our Xbox.
We'd had it there. I don't think I'd ever played it. I think it was.
Why did you have it? Because you had it downloaded.
Because you can just download stuff. It was free. I just downloaded. I never actually played with it. I had other things on my mind, I guess. I don't know. But I really did enjoy. I didn't really play Lego Fortnite like Zoe did. I was playing just the standard Battle Royale, and as someone who used to play Call of Duty back in the day, it really kind of brought me back to that. I'm surprised. I'm surprised at how engaging it was. I'm surprised at how well I felt I was doing with it. I'll probably keep playing some more of that, and you'll actually. If we don't already have them uploaded, we'll at least have a couple of our playthroughs uploaded to our channel soon, too. All right, number 2.
Ooh, I think American Arcadia. By the way, I'm not ranking these with like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like right. These are like they're all equal.
Yeah, it's definitely a conspiracy kind of place too. It's kind of a guy has the the shades ripped off his eyes, and he realizes that everything he believed was true was not in fact true, which is an amazing story to graft onto what is essentially a two-dimensional platformer at the end of the day. Yeah. And it's a fun platformer with puzzles in a way. I'm not going to say it's Portal level puzzles, but it's heading in that direction, and it does it very, very well, and it's very engaging. And more to the point, and this is not something I can say for every game, I liked all the characters in it. I thought they were cool. I liked the protagonist that you play as. I like the girl who's helping him, who you also get to play as a couple of times too. It's just overall fun game. We haven't finished it yet, but I want to go ahead and put it together and play it to the end.
Like a boat lost at sea, with no sails, not a breeze, I am drifting cold waters, no stars.
This is a game that we were going to record and play, and then we had some technical difficulties with it, so we never quite got it up there. But it was a game called Stray Gods, and it is a role-playing game that is essentially a musical. That's it. It is actually a musical with high production numbers, and the plot of the story is the protagonist is a young lady who's in theater and drama, and due to circumstances beyond her control, she ends up inheriting the mantle of Calliope, the muse of the ancient Greek gods.
Our beloved sister, the last of the muses, has passed on to you, our new sister, delivered to us by dear sweet Hermes. It's, Grace, yes?
Yes?
Oh, my, you have had quite the day, haven't you?
Someone died in my arms. Where is this? How did I get here? Who are you people?
Oh, so many questions. This is my office, and I expect you arrived through one of Hermes' portals.
The shiny doorway.
As for who we are, well, that does require some explanation, I agree. Allow me to introduce myself. I am Athena, goddess of wisdom. This is Apollo, god of prophecy, dressed for the occasion, as always. The wondrous Aphrodite, goddess of love. And the one glaring at you is Persephone, once queen of the underworld. Together, we are the chorus. We rule over the idols, our name for the gods who remain. All of us, hidden in your modern world. The reason you're here, Grace, the reason why we made you wait so long while we debated, is because we have rules. Those rules mean we can't admit into our ranks a usurper, never mind a possible murderer. I know this will all come as a shock, and I'm so sorry to say it, but I'm afraid you have to die.
She ends up having to solve a murder under pain of death from Athena and Apollo and the other Greek gods who are interested in making sure that this crime gets solved correctly.
I love how they're like, you cannot leave the borders of the of the city.
Right.
And it's like, wait, but
yeah, and just so it's clear, it's set in the modern times too. It is not set in the ancient Greek world. So the Greek gods are still around somehow, kind of eking out a living here and there. Okay, so that's what it. What's your final one on
Hogwarts.
Hogwarts Legacy. That's a good one. Why do you like it?
I like the school. I like games that let you go to school. I like living their actual life.
So getting the immersion effect of you feel like you're in the Hogwarts Harry Potter universe basically. That's really cool. Do you feel that it lives? You felt that it lived up to the hype and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
We haven't finished that one yet either. These games take a long time to play, and we've got a lot of stuff going on. It's hard to actually play these all the way to the end. Speaking of hard to play all the way to the end, and this one will be controversial among us. I didn't think this was going to be true when I first started it, but Baldur's Gate 3 has made my list. I wasn't a fan initially because the game does not reward people who are not already into the whole D&D thing, and if you only have a passing familiarity with the rules, it can be slow going at first. But I've gotten into it. Zoe, however, disagrees. Why don't you like it?
First of all, I mean, the storyline's great and all, but like, I need to get past some door. I'm not some person who can pick locks. I can't find a lock pick. I can't burn the door down. I can't break it. How else am I supposed to get through the door? Tell me this.
The game does not spoon feed you anything, and it plays like a traditional role-playing game.
Why can't... It's a wooden door. I have a sword. What else am I supposed to do? Not use a sword to break the door? That's what I would do.
I will admit, there were some arbitrary things in here that I was not a fan of, but I think that's part and parcel of the Dungeons & Dragons game rule set, and when it comes right down to it. Frankly, sometimes you can't skip level 1, as they say. I do think... first of all, I love Baldur's Gate because they really did encompass everything that you possibly could have, without actually having a live game master there to run the game to, smooth over the places where the unexpected happens. They really did program so many different possibilities, and it was really good. I will say that I guess like they've even gone so far as to you should not under any circumstances try to play the game all the way through just by yourself in the game without any non-player characters joining your party to do it. But the game designers actually scripted the entire game with that possibility there, so you could try to do it. I don't know why, but I guess you could try to play the whole 200-hour game without any help at all, without any other side characters, just by yourself. That's how attention to detail it was. This was a labor of love from the game developers, and it really paid off. I am going to offer a criticism of it, though. And this is something that when, in my misbegotten youth, I used to say things like, oh, wow, I don't understand why instead of, redoing this whole game that we already love, why don't they just upgrade the tech a little bit for the next generation of consoles and computers and graphics cards and just leave the whole game as it is. That's kind of what Baldur's Gate 3 feels like. It feels like there wasn't any innovations at all in the technology, in the game itself. They just advanced the game as it was for Baldur's Gate 2. They just made it like they leveraged new technology that they didn't have back then. But there were some really strange decisions, like the decision to not voice the protagonist at all, which I'm like, oh man, that still doesn't sit right with me. Come on, give me a voice actor for the protagonist, guys. You can do that. And those are the things that kept me from jumping into it wholeheartedly. But after I played it a little more, I've really started to appreciate it, and I think I will try to play it all the way through. And yeah, you'll see me do those solo, I guess. I think that's it. I think we've tapped out a top 5, huh?
I'm gonna say only one game because I did not like. Alan, I didn't like. I watched.
Well, I tell you what. Why don't we now convert it into the bottom 5 games that we did not like? Go ahead. You start with your bottom list here.
I mean, I didn't really play it, but from the times that I watched him play, and then from the first episode that I was there for, he just told me
You're talking about Alan Wake 2, right?
Yes, two. One was good. But it's you get jump scared a lot. I've heard. It'll be
yeah.
But then you'll die, and then it'll be and then you'll die, and then you finally make it through, and you're like, why would I want to just watch that over and over again? Scary games are hard to sell because you keep dying after a jump scare. So you keep watching the jump scare. That's why scary movies sell out more. Because you get jump scared once. Unless you watch it again, then you get jump scared twice, 3 times. I don't care.
That's actually a really good point. And it's something I absolutely found. Now, I'm sticking through with it. And Zoe, you actually did play it for a little bit the first round, and then you dropped out because we had visitors that weekend. And I've been sticking through it. I will probably play it to the end because I'm committed to it now. But yeah, I would say that's one of the biggest disappointments this year was Alan Wake 2. The first one, the atmosphere really sold it. It was scary. I mean, it's definitely play this at home in the basement at night with the lights out, and you'll really see what I mean. In nightmare mode where the bad guys just keep coming and they come out of nowhere, and the music is perfect for it. The atmosphere, like the first time you play it, first few times you'll be scared, but after you get past that and you start to get used to it, you still feel the atmosphere. In fact, I loved it so much, as I said many times, Alan Wake 1, the original, makes me want to just drive to the Pacific Northwest and get a cabin in the woods and just sit there at night and write a novel while drinking coffee. That was just like, that just feels like, and then I'll go hiking during the day. I'll have this weird vision of how that should play out.
It makes me not want to.
But that's how I love the atmosphere. The characters in there were really engaging. There was Barry, who was your rough and tumble your not rough and tumble, but your snooty sidekick from New York. But you knew what to expect from him, and it was clear that there was a relationship that was going on there. The sheriff was interesting. The other deputies were engaging, even if they were sometimes a little bit funny. But you liked them. They were all presented kind of in a positive way, and you knew why the bad guys were coming. And you knew how to defeat them, and it was difficult but consistent. And Alan Wake 2 just kind of throws all that aside. Like, Alan Wake was not an expert at fighting, so you just dealt with that. The new players, the new protagonist that you have, Saga, she's supposed to be an FBI agent, and...
He's coming. No weapon.
You don't have a gun? What kind of FBI agent are you? She's magically good at a lot of things that doesn't make any sense. And at first I thought it was just, well, Alan's feeding her story. Maybe he is, maybe he's not. I'm not sure if he is now. The atmosphere doesn't feel right. Like the Pacific Northwest doesn't feel like the Pacific Northwest. It feels like, I don't know, like marshes in Finland or something. I don't know, which probably makes sense. But the gameplay itself is just not there. It's like the combat is inconsistent and weird, and it's not the fighting game that it was before. It's like they're trying to sell the atmosphere, but the problem is that they try to make you scared by just going, ah! Just jumping out at you from time to time with a cutscene, like a real quick interstitial, and it doesn't. Once you've seen that a couple of times, once you've reloaded a couple of times, you realize that's all they have. And now I haven't played the whole game all the way through. I will. Maybe that'll change. But so far, I feel like I'm doing this one out of duty and because I feel like I ought to, rather than because I'm enjoying the game, which is the worst reason to play a game, in my opinion. So, Alan Wake 2, definitely no good. Yeah. What about you? What others?
Think. The Expanse. Oh, and Baldur's Gate. I already told you about
Baldur's Gate. Yeah. The Expanse. Yes. Telltale's triumphant return. The Expanse.
It was. No. I mean, like, the first episode was like, oh, yay, we're on a spaceship. We could have killed somebody. Yay! The second one was like, go get this. Go get this one now. Go get this.
That's right. Episode 2 was just
and then you're supposed to do this whole romance, and then it was like, nothing happened. Like, we choose not to do the romance. It's like nothing happened.
Yeah, I am so disappointed with Telltale, especially because it comes from a very storied and popular sci-fi series, and there should have been a lot of stuff you could have done with that. And it feels like it really missed the mark. The first episode was okay. It was solid. It wasn't truly engaging, but the fact that we'd played other Telltale games before led us to believe there was more good coming out of that. And then we got to episode 2, and like Zoe said, it was just a big fetch quest episode where you didn't really do too much. And then the story, and then the episode ended. And I don't think, even if you'd followed the romance path, I don't think that would have made any difference, frankly. It would have been essentially the same thing. You just had that one extra thing going on. And after that, we just kind of got distracted and stopped playing it, and we never felt any reason to come back to it. I don't know that we will.
Oh. Under the Waves.
Under the Waves.
It wasn't that it wasn't a bad game. It's just I wanted them to be more direct on what they wanted me to do. Like, I didn't want them to be like, go there and then force you to. I just wanted them to be like, if you click a button, it'll show you an arrow to where you need to go. Like in Mass Effect.
Right.
But they didn't, and I'm like, I don't know where I'm supposed to go. Well, this is like, they almost don't want you to actually go do that.
Yeah, I'm going to say that too. I found that Under the Waves was, and this was actually another one by Quantic Dreams, the company that put out Detroit Become Human. So again, we had high hopes on this one, and yeah, it was just kind of boring. A lot of just, I think the phrase is walking simulator. I think in this case it was diving simulator, but there wasn't too much going on to it. Not enough to keep us wanting to come back. And that was another one of those games where I was experimenting with technical setups, and we had some difficulty getting a good recording off of that one. But regardless, we just didn't come back to it. And maybe we should next year or something. But that's, for right now, that one's just not too great.
I think.
So I did have another one here, and this was again another one that we did not try recording at all, but something I played on the Steam Deck actually just by myself. This was called For the People. I think the best way to describe it is communism simulator. I guess that's it. It's sort of one of those you take control of a government kind of games, and you get to set policies and manage resources and that kind of thing. Did not find this one at all engaging. There was a phrase that someone once said about, I think it was Master of Orion 3 from like 20 years ago or something like that, which they said which was one of those, explore, expand, conquer kind of strategic games, except it was played out in outer space, across the galaxy. And the big criticism about it, as I remember, was they called it spreadsheets in space because it required so much resource management that you kind of wanted to have a good spreadsheet handy, get Microsoft Excel booted up, because that way you can quickly scan, and filter it and sort according to the data that you needed to gather, but what location needed your attention. And that's kind of what this one felt like to me, spreadsheets in space. And I think one of the most damning criticisms I can come up with for all these spreadsheets in space kind of games like For the People is that if you're going to do a spreadsheet game, give me a spreadsheet. I mean, let me export the data to CSV so I can import it, and then I can run queries against it using SQL or something. Because if that's the level you're going to do it, I expect you to have accommodated a good table, a good way to manage the data that you need me to analyze to play the game. All right. Last word's yours, Zeke.
Bye.
Bye, everyone. Thanks for joining. Have a Merry Christmas, and we will see you. Have a Happy New Year.